A Spokane woman hit by a car and killed while jogging. What we're learning about her and the 17-year-old accused of killing her.
I think the rights of the public to information in this case is paramount.
A long-standing gag order terminated. What it means for more answers in the murder case against Brian Coberger.
Weather impact alerts remain in place as critical fire danger returns to the region tomorrow and breezy conditions take us into the weekend.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Amanda Rowley, filling in for Mark Hanrahan. We're learning more about a deadly crash yesterday on Spokane's South Hill. Just in this afternoon, the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office identified 48-year-old Sarah Doxey as the woman who was killed in that hit and run Wednesday morning. KREM 2's Regan Gallo has been at the scene of that crash all day, talking to neighbors in the area. Regan, what can you tell us?
Well, this is obviously a tragic and heartbreaking situation for everyone involved. Right now, I'm on South Perry Street and 49th, and as you can see right next to me are many flowers, t-shirts, as well as water bottles to honor Sarah Doxey, as we are learning that she was an avid runner in the Spokane community, and she was just doing what she loved on what was supposed to be a normal Wednesday morning. Now, the Spokane Police Department confirmed the suspect accused of hitting Sarah Doxey is 17 years old. That 17-year-old is in custody and is facing DUI and felony hit and run charges. Now, Sarah Doxey was well known within the community and was currently the Chief Operations Officer of Chaz Health in Spokane. She also worked for Providence Inland Northwest as a director of pediatrics previously, and both organizations have put out statements saying how this is a tragic and heartbreaking loss. They say she was relentless in her service to both her caregivers and patients. Now, a close friend of Doxey's reached out to KREM 2 and told us Doxey is a mother of 2 teenagers. Now, I have talked to neighbors in this community all day, and they said that this road is very busy. And as you can see, there are no sidewalks on either sides of the road, causing a lot of hazard as this road has gotten busy. And one neighbor I talked to also said that when cars go too fast, they hit the curbs, they hit the yards of people's homes and property lines. Now, as far as for that suspect, that juvenile suspect, they did appear for the first time in court this afternoon. We will have more details on what that brings in our upcoming newscasts. I'm reporting here on the South Hill in Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
All right, thank you, Regan. A fatal crash involving a vehicle and pedestrian happened this morning on I-90. All lanes were closed heading eastbound at Sullivan Road just for a few hours. However, WashDOT reopened all eastbound lanes just this afternoon. This morning, the judge in the Brian Coberger murder case lifted the so-called gag order. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy explains what this means because, Shannon, we're just 5 days out from sentencing.
Yeah, this order has prevented case insiders like investigators and attorneys from speaking publicly about it for 3 years.
Shortly after Brian Coberger admitted his guilt to killing 4 University of Idaho students, news organizations like KREM 2 asked the judge to lift the long-standing non-dissemination order.
It simply continues to limit the ability of the members of the press to reach out to the people who know the most about the case. It doesn't obligate them to say anything.
Prosecutors didn't object, but the defense did, saying there's a safety risk and a risk to the defendant's right to a fair sentencing.
The publicity in this case is so extensive and emotions are already so high.
Judge Stephen Hippler said the primary purpose of the gag order was to be able to seat an impartial jury. That's no longer in play.
The media frenzy, as it has been described, will continue regardless.
Lifting the order means those close to the investigation can speak if they want to, but it doesn't mean previously sealed case records will be released.
And so before everybody gets out their pen and paper and sends in public records requests, understand those will be denied for sealed records until they are unsealed. And that process is going to take time. And I'm not talking days, I'm probably not talking weeks.
Hippler says after sentencing July 23rd, he'll start reviewing those documents and allow attorneys to request redactions before they become public. Some details of the case may stay under seal.
Prosecutor Bill Thompson already said in court records he plans to wait to speak until after Wednesday's sentencing. We have also learned today the city of Moscow will create a website to publicly post Moscow police investigation records on this case once they're legally allowed to release those. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Thank you, Shannon. And you can count on KREM 2 News to bring you complete team coverage live from Boise on Wednesday, starting at 8 a.m. I will be in Boise sharing the latest from inside the courtroom and get reaction after the sentencing. Now, once that sentence hearing begins, the Up with KREM team will begin our live special coverage on KREM 2 and streaming on KREM 2+. All right, with temps rising across the inland Northwest and high winds potentially on the horizon, we're going to check in with Jeremy, who's in the Outdoor Weather Center. Jeremy, you're also calling for a weather impact alert day tomorrow.
Amanda, we just can't get away from them. About a month ago, I was in a meeting and they said, is weather ever going to get serious? And I said, yeah. Well, let's just enjoy the now. And we have quickly made it to the point where we are dry, we are hot, and wind seems to be a regular occurrence. 87 degrees is where we sit right now, and wind out of the west at 12 is a far cry from where it will be this time tomorrow. It's a beautiful day. And believe it or not, 87 is pretty much the seasonal norm. 90s out in central Washington, those are the norm as well. But as we move through the day tomorrow, we have hot, dry, windy conditions back in the forecast, and that means high fire danger tomorrow afternoon as wind gusts between 25 and 35 miles per hour. For that reason, the National Weather Service said, yep, it's going to be dangerous. Red flag warnings remain in effect from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. tomorrow. Temperatures climb just a few degrees more than where we are today. Our atmosphere dries out a little more than where we are today, and wind picks up. Looks like we'll get a little bit of cloud cover along with that wind tomorrow afternoon and evening. Wind really starts gusting by late tomorrow evening, right before sunset. I think the strongest wind gusts are going to be right around sunset. 91 degrees tomorrow with increasing clouds, 84 Saturday, 83 on Sunday. So we cool slightly heading into the weekend.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Spokane County says Wall Street at Barnes Road is back open after a sewer line break. It was closed today so crews could replace the damaged section of a sewage pipe. Spokane County tells us a 36-inch crack on a main line caused the leak. And starting today, the federal government is shutting down the LGBTQ plus services for 988. 988 is not shutting down fully, but the Press 3 option for LGBTQ plus youth won't start working today. Here in Washington, though, officials are working to make sure every counselor is trained to help LGBTQ plus youth in crisis. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration says more than 1.3 million people have called 988 since it started back in 2022. To be clear, the number 988 is still available to everyone. Well, retired NFL linebacker Brian Brahman died today at 38 years old after a battle with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018. Brahman was born in Spokane and was a track and football star at Shadle Park High School. A GoFundMe was set up in February for Brahman and his family with an initial goal of $15,000. Then it was up to $25,000. It's now reached more than $90,000 just this afternoon. All right, stay with us for more news ahead. After the break, though, we'll tell you the latest updates on the wildfires across the inland Northwest. And at 5:15, we bring you the latest news coming out of D.C., including a new update on President Trump's health and the Senate's latest move to cut funding to public radio and television.